Hey everybody, welcome back to the Expats. I'm Matt, this is my wife Diane.
If you are like us and are considering retiring abroad to the EU and are curious about how other countries compare to the US, then you might not want to miss this video.
So today we're going to be covering areas of cost of living, housing, visas, and healthcare.
We're also going to talk about taxes, inheritance laws, and even which cities are the best in these countries for retirees.
So you've worked hard, okay? And now you're considering retiring abroad, where you'll have great food, you'll have beautiful scenery, and you'll have a lot lower cost of living.
And France and Spain and Portugal are often the ones that you hear the most. These are some of the top destinations for American retirees, but how do they compare to retiring in the US? That's what we're going to talk about today. So like we did in our first video when we were talking about how we could not move to Italy right now, we have created several charts so it's just easier to be able to see everything side by side. And so we're going to put this on the screen so you guys can see it as well. And we're going to start today with the cost of living and budgeting.
So to rent a one-bedroom apartment in a city center in France, it's going to cost you anywhere from $900 to $1,500. Over in Spain, it's going to cost you approximately $800 to $1,200 a month. In Portugal, it's going to cost you anywhere from $700 to $1,100 a month. Now in the US, it's going to cost you about $2,000 plus, if you know, the plus part is if you're living in the New York or San Francisco area.
Now keep in mind, these are averages, these are not exact dollar amounts. And obviously these prices could go up if you are in Paris or if you're in Lisbon or, you know, Porto or something like that. So just keep in mind that obviously if you're in the bigger cities, it's going to cost more. So these are just ranges.
Yeah.
Just ranges. For groceries, monthly cost per couple in France, you're looking about $500 to $700 a month. In Spain, you're looking at anywhere from $400 to $600 a month. In Portugal, you're looking at around $300 to $500 a month. And in the US, you're looking anywhere at $700 to $1,000 a month.
And now dining out with a couple like us two, in France, it's probably going to run you anywhere from $40 to $80. In Spain, it's going to run you $25 to $50. And in Portugal, it's going to run you close to $20 to $40. Now in the US, it's going to cost you $50 to $100. Now the key takeaways are that Portugal is the most affordable, followed by Spain, and then by France.
Right, and everyday expenses are lower than in the US, but urban areas like we talked about, Paris, Madrid, Lisbon, they will cost more in those areas.
Previously we talked about what it took to rent a place in one of these areas. Now we're going to talk about buying. In France, homes can range from $200,000 to $350,000 in smaller towns, but $500,000 plus in the Paris area.
In Spain, affordable homes in Valencia or Seville, you're looking at about $150,000 to $250,000. But in Barcelona, obviously it's more expensive and you're looking at $400,000 plus for a home.
And in Portugal, one of the cheapest places to buy is in the smaller towns, which will run you anywhere from $100,000 to $250,000. But Lisbon is rising in prices, and they're anywhere from $400,000 and up.
And in the US, you know, housing costs, they vary widely, but they're generally more expensive in the major cities, just like in these other countries.
Now let's talk about the healthcare quality and costs. In the public healthcare quality area, France has out of a total of 5 stars, it gets a 5-star. Spain has a total of 4 stars, and then it's followed by Portugal and the US, which has 3 stars.
And private insurance, a monthly cost for private insurance, in France you're looking at about $50 to $150 a month. In Spain you're looking at $50 to $100 a month. In Portugal you're looking at anywhere from $40 to $100 a month. And in the US you are talking about anywhere from $300 to $600, but it's also more than that as well.
Now if you're wanting to go visit a doctor without your insurance, in France it's going to run you approximately $30 to $50. In Spain it'll run you anywhere from $40 to $70. In Portugal it will run $30 to $50, and then in the US, which is the most expensive, will run you anywhere from $100 to $250. Now some key takeaways in this section. France has the best healthcare system overall.
Spain's public health care is great, but you're going to have some wait times there, and they can be long.
And Portugal's healthcare is good, but the private insurance is recommended.
And shocker, the US is way more expensive.
Of course. Foot just fell asleep. It's all neat. Don't kick it.
Do you have the needles?
Yes. Don't.
You have the needles.
Now let's talk about the visas and the residency requirements. The best retirement visas, France's is the long stay visa. Spain is the non-lucrative visa, and Portugal is the D7 visa.
And so now let's talk about the minimum income requirements, which is what started us on this whole process. France's minimum passive income requirement is about 1,380 euros a month. Spain is about 2,400 euros a month, and Portugal is about 820 euros a month.
Now the path to citizenship, France's is 5 years. Over in Spain, it's 10 years, but you must renounce your US citizenship. And over in Portugal, it's 5 years, and you do not have to renounce your US citizenship. Now, key takeaways in this area: Portugal is the easiest for retirees due to low income requirements and flexible citizenship rules.
Spain, it requires a higher income level, and to get citizenship, you have to renounce your US nationality.
And in France, it has a moderate income requirement, but a stricter integration process.
Like I know right now, they are changing it this year too. They've changed their language requirements.
Yes.
The levels of language that you have to be fluent in.
So what we've heard so far of the new laws is that a 65-year-old retiree over there and older, you do not have to, for the long-term visa in France, you do not have to qualify for any of the language over there.
To renew your visa.
Yeah.
Or to do a multi-year visa. Yeah, if you're older than 65, you get a break.
Now let's talk about the income taxes and the inheritance taxes. The income tax rate for France is up to 45%. Spain is up to 47%. Portugal is up to 10%. And the US is up to 37%.
In Portugal's 10%, that's their NHR program that they have, so that's why theirs is 10%. Their inheritance tax, or do they have an inheritance tax? France, yes, they do have an inheritance tax, and it varies. Spain, yes, they do, and it can be very high. Portugal, there are no taxes for direct heirs, and the US, yes, you do have inheritance tax over a certain amount, and I'm not 100% sure what that is. You might want to talk to a CPA about that.
Okay, now the key takeaways in this section, Portugal's NHR program, which is also known as the non-habitual residence program, it offers you a tax break for 10 years.
Spain and France, they do tax worldwide income, which does affect U.S. retirees, but there is an exemption in France for certain retirement and pension programs that includes your Social Security. So what that means, France is going to come out way ahead here because they do not tax your Social Security from the U.S., nor will they tax your IRA withdrawals or your Roth IRA withdrawals. So again, we are not tax experts in any way, shape, or form. You might want to talk to a certified financial planner or an accountant on this. You know, they can give you more details, but France comes way ahead on this one.
Now, one person we can suggest, if you want to ask some questions to, and if he'll answer, is a guy that we watch on YouTube. His name is Tommy Sykes, and he's with Traveltirement. And he talks a lot about France and a lot about Italy. Now the next section that we're going to be talking about is language barriers and expats / immigrants. On the English proficiency, France is very low. Spain has a medium proficiency. Portugal has a high, and same with the US, that is high.
Should be. I mean, it's our native.
It should be for English.
The best expat or immigrant communities in these areas are, in France, you've got Paris, Nice, and Dordogne. In Spain, you have Barcelona, Valencia, Madrid, and Costa del Sol. In Portugal, you're looking at Lisbon, Porto, and the Algarve. And then, you know, U.S. is kind of all over.
U.S. is U.S. Now, for the best cities and towns for retirees, in France, you have Dordogne, which is expat friendly. It has scenic countrysides, and it is very affordable. In Nice, you have the Mediterranean climate, great health care with high cost. And in Annecy, you have the beautiful lakeside town, and it's close to Switzerland.
In Spain, you're looking at Valencia, and that is a coastal city. It's affordable and it has good health care. You have Seville, which is a lower cost of living, warm weather, and it also has historic charm. Costa del Sol has quite a few English-speaking expats / immigrants and sunny weather.
Now in Portugal, Lisbon is a cosmopolitan area with English-friendly people and rising costs. In Porto, you have more affordable than Lisbon with greater culture. And in Algarve, it's best for beach lovers and large expat communities.
So these are just some categories. If you hear George, I'm sorry, he's ornery right now. These are just some categories to get you started on your search. Please know and understand that this is not an all-inclusive list. There are things that we did not bring up. There are things that we don't know about. These are just ones that we have learned and wanted to share. I will say, again, as far as taxes and healthcare goes, France is the winner, hands down.
Yes.
I also, the problem that I have with Spain is that if you decide that you want to pursue citizenship, you have to renounce your U.S. citizenship, which I would never do.
No.
So I think for us, as beautiful as Spain is, I think that one's out.
Right.
I think we can mark that one off the list. I do feel that Portugal is very pretty. I feel like they've had so many people come into that country that the prices are starting to skyrocket, and you can find that it's not quite as affordable as it once was.
Yeah, because we were watching a few videos the other night, and they're really having a hard time over in the Lisbon area right now. We're going by what we saw on TV. And
Controversial, I'm sure.
very controversial, and that they're having problems with the illegal immigrants that are coming over, and it's doing major damage to their economy right now. And a lot of the nationals, the Portuguese people over there, are not happy with the whole situation. They do like whenever people come over and they're wanting to learn their culture and their language and everything, but these illegal immigrants that have come over, they're not doing anything. They're taking over buildings. They're not learning their language. They're not learning their culture, but they're trying to force their culture on the Portuguese people.
Yeah, and so, a lot of the locals are mad about it. You see street after street with closed businesses, lots of drugs. I mean, of course, okay, we're from the U.S. We have it too. Again, we know how controversial this is. We're not trying to start anything. We're not trying to get political. I mean, it just is what it is. We're just basically relating what we have seen.
Yeah, I was really shocked whenever I watched these videos as to how certain areas over there looked whenever we're being shown all the nice places in all these different areas. Mm-hmm. And these places that they were showing us, they just look like slums. And, I'm not trying to talk bad about the country or anything, but they've got a real problem on their hands. I mean, if it persists, they're going to get run into the ground on their economy.
Well, but it's still a beautiful country, and it is still more affordable than a lot of other countries. We've had so many comments still on our video of us when we said we weren't going to be able to move to Italy, and so many of them are so positive. And then you have the hateful ones and the mean ones. I've been on a blocking spree lately, but one lady said that she was talking about how bad the crime is in France and that it's everywhere. I get it. Crime is everywhere. We live in the U.S.
I'm a deputy sheriff, and I deal with crime every day out here where I work. So I know what crime is. I know what it's about. And you're going to have crime everywhere you go. Mm-hmm. Whether it be, petty theft up to major crimes. You're going to have it.
We're human. We're fallen sinners, so you're going to have it no matter what. But we do realize that there is crime, in other countries. We've had so many people question why we want to move abroad. So we've talked about that at great length of why we want to move abroad, and why we want to retire in the EU. I mean, we've talked about that.
We've talked about moving abroad. We're concentrating on the EU. We're not concentrating on other countries that are not in the EU. There are some that are in the EU that we're not really looking at. One of them being Switzerland, because that's a little bit too north for me. I want to be down around the south area where you can either get all 4 seasons, and I'm not saying that you can't get all 4 seasons up there, but you're going to get a lot of snow up there, and I really don't want to deal with a whole lot of snow.
And there's also countries that are more expensive than living in the U.S. and so that's pointless, because if you're retired and you're living on a fixed income, you want your retirement to last as long as possible. So going somewhere that's more expensive doesn't make any sense at all. The whole reason that we have picked this area or these places is that we would be able to retire earlier. That's the whole point of this whole thing, is so that we can retire while we're still young enough to enjoy it and be able to travel. That's the whole point.
And we're picking the places that we would be able to afford. We look at all the pros and cons of different areas. Right now, France, and I will be honest about this, France is leading right now. Because, you know, they've got affordable housing, great health care. You can go over there and get a license without having to take a test. Where you can, you know, you fill out some paperwork, turn over your license, you'll get a license back. You've got the culture over there. You know, you've got, you know, we're seriously trying to learn the language right now. And I'm not great, but I'm trying.
Neither am I. But I also want to throw in the reason why a driver's license is important is because it doesn't limit us to where we have to live in a certain spot that has public transportation. If we can get a driver's license, then we can live wherever we want to.
We don't have to live inside of a city where all the transportation's at. We can live out in the rural area if we want to. We can have a little bit of land if we want to have some chickens or some animals. You know, there's advantages to that stuff, but we're doing it for us.
Yeah, we're not going to go over there because we want to live off the government, or, you know, we've heard so many hateful things on that, or just, you know, become a burden on their economy. That's not, we're not going over there broke, y'all.
So somebody had made a comment that that we would probably just want to be able to go over there and live abroad and more or less be an expat bum, and that's not what we're wanting to do.
No.
You know, we want to be able to go over there, contribute what we can. We want to get to know the people. We want to learn their culture. We want to learn their language. And that's part of our new adventure, you know, when we retire. And I can't wait for it. So, you know, our areas that we are concentrating on, and this is for everybody that watches the video, we are concentrating on the EU. So right now, though, it's closer to France. Since we're not going to Italy, you know, we're looking at France.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people have brought up Albania, and Albania is a good option. It is affordable,
and it's not in the Schengen zone, so you could go over there and come back.
If you had to do the Schengen shuffle, would I want to live in Albania full time? No. It doesn't appeal to me. There's nothing wrong with it. I feel like it's beautiful, but for us, that it's not an option, and not that anything's wrong with it. I'm not going to dog on other people's countries like people have dogged on us, but it's just, you know, how you have preferences, and that one, it just doesn't, I don't feel it there.
Well, you know, there's a person that we're subscribed to that he moved from Texas, where we're from, okay? He moved from Texas and went to Albania.
He loves it.
He loves it over there, and there are certain areas over there that are really nice, but it's not what I want to be at. You know, he's happy where he's at. He just bought himself a condo or apartment.
Very happy there.
Very happy, him and his wife.
And that's great. That's great. He loves it, and I'm happy for him. It's just it's not what we're looking for, and I feel like we're entitled to have an opinion on where we want to live.
Now, if we go over there to Albania, I'll probably look him up and see if he wants to go out for some dinner or something like that. Him and his wife. I mean, I'd love to be able to sit down and talk with him. And his name's Patrick, and you know, and what's his site called?
Retire Overseas with Patrick.
Yeah, and if you can, go look at his site.
If you're looking for Albania, he loves it.
He seems like a really nice guy, and you know.
Yeah. So, you know, nothing is off the table, like definitely, other than Spain and the countries that are more expensive than the U.S. because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
We're still looking. We just started. We don't know everything. We just started. So Again, if you want to help us out, feel free to leave suggestions in the comments. We've had so many people leave some excellent suggestions, and we appreciate that.
We really do appreciate the comments and the suggestions, the ones that are being nice about everything. We don't get political on our site. We had a couple that got a little political, and I was being nice to them whenever I replied, but with this site right here, if you start getting political, we're just going to pass by your comment.
We're going to block you because we're not going to do that. We're not about that. We're not going to do that. Again, trying to be happy over here. The goal is happiness. And that's the thing. When you have a video that does well and so many people see it, then that brings a lot of comments, and we don't expect everything to be all roses all the time. We get it.
And if someone makes a comment that, like say someone makes a comment to us or a suggestion, that's their opinion and what they want to say. Don't come back, because I've seen some that were people will start disagreeing with the others that are making the comments. We'll make our comment with the people, and if we like it, we're gonna follow it. If we don't like it, I'll just I'm gonna be nice. I'll be very nice, but let's just try to keep it on a family level.
I will say that one of the best comments that we had, and I know that this person meant it derogatory. He meant it as a insult. But we were called Hank and Peggy Hill. You know what? Okay.
I've watched.
Damn it, Bobby.
I've watched King of the Hill, and they're from Texas, but
oh my gosh.
I don't. Maybe it was the shirt I was wearing. I don't know.
No, I think it was your everything. I think it was pretty nice.
No, I had never been called Hank Hill before.
People, oh my gosh, people got jokes.
Yeah.
Anyway, all that to say, we're glad you're here, and to all of the new subscribers, we're glad you're here.
Very glad.
Like I said, we keep it light here. We are not serious people. I mean, this is a serious situation, but we are not serious people. We like to have a good time and laugh and cut up, and so we're just glad that you're here. And
my dog's about to chew my leg
please
off.
bring him up. George wants to say hello to his friends. People say he's the star. Here he is. Well,
oh, sorry. This is George.
That's George. But anyway, we appreciate you watching, and please don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you will be informed of when our next video comes up, which is going to be next Friday at 3 p.m. Central. So we hope you had a good Valentine's Day. It's our anniversary, Valentine's Day, so
yeah.
Always extra special. So anyway, we will see you guys next Friday. We hope you guys have a great week. I'll be into